Welcome back. All right, it's another full board, and I'll probably be able to do another full board after this. And people are always like, "Oh, look, he posted this, and then this news broke. What terrible timing!" No, that's not how terrible timing works. Anyways, starting off at the top, and the reason why I'm wearing my Steve Yzerman jersey. There's no 19 on this on the sleeves. Weird. Anyways, I'm used to them having numbers on the sleeves. So Yzerman, Moritz Seider has signed a 7-year extension with the Detroit Red Wings, so that's done. We're down to 3 skaters who are RFAs and 1 goaltender. Sorry, Boston, you're not on the board. Moritz Seider signs a 7-year extension with Detroit, so if you want to get mad at Yzerman, you could say, well, why isn't it 8 years? $8.55 million cap hit for Seider. The Detroit Red Wings now have cap space of $198,000, according to Puckpedia, meaning, yeah, they're done. So that's it. Seider and Raymond are signed. They'll both be in camp. Plenty of time to get themselves up to speed for the start of the regular season. Detroit, I still think's in pretty good shape to potentially be a playoff team this year. Take them lightly at your own risk. Jacob Trouba. So there's been a lot of talk about Jacob Trouba. I've talked about the Rangers side of it. The Rangers quite happy to have him back, at least publicly saying so. And Jacob Trouba saying that the trade rumors, all of this discussion was blown way out of proportion, and he'd love to talk to the person who started it. All right. He also says there's no bad feelings from him towards the team. And the team has already said that they're fine with having him as the captain for another year. So it definitely sounds like the team, the player, there's no problem there. We'll see how this season goes. If Trouba sticks around much longer than past this season, odds are he's probably traded next summer. But if he has a really good year, maybe not. So we'll see what happens with Trouba. But he's saying all the right things publicly. He is their team captain, and he's looking forward to leading them to maybe a Stanley Cup win this coming season. We shall see. So John Tortorella loves to do his skating drills, the Tortorella rope as it's known and all that. And he continues with tough day one drills, and some of the players had a hard time. Almost everybody completed the skating drills. Now, Jamie Drysdale struggled. Now, Drysdale, of course, dealing with injuries from last season and going through everything he has, and he's added 18 pounds over the summer. Now, I didn't put up their muscle because the article I was reading said 18 pounds of muscle, and the last time I said somebody put on, I think it was like 10 pounds of muscle, I had people right away. That's physically impossible. That can't be done over an off season, and I always picture it in that Simpsons nerd voice, with Xena and all that. Anyways, so Drysdale added 18 pounds over the summer, clearly trying to, toughen himself up a little bit, and admitted that he struggled with the skating today. And Tortorella not apologetic for driving the players really hard. It's what he's known for, and so yeah, it's his third year in Philadelphia, and he puts them through it. Make sure that everybody's in shape, and yeah, sometimes you blow players up doing that. The Utah Hockey Club hasn't played a game yet, but they're already dealing with injuries. Nick Bugstad, upper body injury for him. It's also an upper body injury for John Marino, who of course was added over the offseason. Both of them are considered to be week to week, and my rule with week to week is it's usually at least 2 weeks. So my guess is 2 weeks. We're a little past 2 weeks, and then we get into the regular season. So since we have more than 2 weeks till the start of the regular season, I won't assume they're going to miss games to start the year, but it would be too bad if Marino did miss games to start the season because he's a big part of that revamped team. And expectations, I think, are not that high for Utah, but I think they're expected to be better than what Arizona was this past season. So, Evgeny Malkin, not a happy camper. And he's not a happy camper not because of anything related to the Penguins or to his status, just he doesn't like being older than everybody else. Which, yep, that's something when you wake up and you look around and you go, I'm older than everybody. But yeah, he's now the oldest player on the Penguins at age 38. He wants to take on a little more of the leadership role with the Penguins. Feels like his experience is really important now. He was the second oldest last year. Jeff Carter was the oldest player. Carter's now retired, so Malkin has that role. And saying that he and Letang and Crosby are the leaders of this team, and that the goal is to get back to the playoffs and then try to win another Stanley Cup. So this is what the Penguins are going to say. This is honestly what you're going to hear from 32 different training camps right now, that they all want to win the Stanley Cup, because of course they do. You're not going to sit there and go, I don't think we're even going to make the playoffs, but I'm going to get a bunch of goals and make some money. So I'd love that interview, but it's never going to happen. So yeah, Malkin saying all the right things. His offensive numbers dropped off a bit last year, so we'll see whether or not those offensive numbers come back up this season. Kevin Labanc, who's on a PTO, gets a more prominent role with the New Jersey Devils today. He's skating on a line with Tatar and Hischier, and apparently he doesn't look out of place. Labanc did not have a great season with San Jose. I still think Kevin Labanc can be an effective NHLer, and there's an opening there because Dawson Mercer is one of those 3 remaining RFA skaters, and so maybe Labanc works that into a contract for himself. Brendan Dillon has been paired with Dougie Hamilton today as well. So, of course, with New Jersey, all eyes are going to be on the revamped blue line as well as the revamped goaltending. And so Dillon being paired with Hamilton's interesting because Hamilton missed most of last season. Of course, Dillon's a new addition. So it's really going to feel like a brand new team in New Jersey. Beck Mallenstein, I think this is a good story. So this is on the board as a result. His comfort level arriving in Buffalo was improved by the fact that Nick Aube-Kubel, who he played with last season, gave him a call and basically told him, yeah, no, I'm going to Buffalo too. Apparently, their wives are good friends with each other too. They're living close to one another. So this is really helping him, acclimate. And the plan is to have both Aube-Kubel and Mallenstein in that reworked bottom 6. So having them on a line together would make some sense because they know one another. And Mallenstein sounds excited to be a part of the Sabres. Lindy Ruff sounded really optimistic yesterday too. Again, it is training camp. Everybody's optimistic about everything, but it's nice to see a coach of the Sabres talking about, work ethic and how well everybody's doing in that first day at camp. So, Mallenstein, I think, might be a solid addition for Buffalo's bottom 6. They wanted to speed things up, and so we'll see how things go. Roby Järventie in Ottawa. I believe it's Roby, not Robbie. But anyways, Järventie, knee injury. He's missing training camp. That will make it more difficult for him to make the team. Looking at the 4 lines that the Oilers had at practice today, yeah, those lines look like they might be the 4 lines this year. Järventie obviously would not have been on those 4 lines, so he may very well end up getting sent down to the AHL to start the season. He, of course, was picked up from Ottawa in a trade in the offseason. So, San Jose, training camp, and injuries. This is a lot. Askarov, lower body injury. He's not there to start training camp. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, upper body injury. He's not there. Logan Couture, groin injury. And, of course, with Couture, going to be a lot of discussion about how many games he's going to play and everything after missing most of last season, too. And Mahatma-Dullin, lower body injury for him. He is missing the start of training camp. So, of the 4, I don't think Askarov was going to be the starting goaltender for them this season anyways. I think that's going to be Blackwood's job. And then I figure that you're going to have Vanacek as the backup, and then Askarov should be the starter for the Barracuda. Vlasic, of course, veteran defenseman. Couture, the team captain and veteran up front. Mahatma-Dullin may very well end up playing for the Barracuda. No idea what's going to happen there, but that is a notable chunk of their roster not there for the start of training camp. Kind of a funny quote from Marcus Foligno today. Of course, his brother Nick named captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, and he said he wasn't surprised his brother was named the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. He's 20 years older than the next guy, is what Marcus Foligno said. And then he said basically as long as Bedard's happy, which all accounts he probably is. Bedard's only 19 right now, right? Like I think he's still just 19. So it makes sense to give Nick Foligno that captaincy. Give Bedard a couple more years and then he can become the captain. But yeah, so Marcus Foligno clearly kind of ribbing at his brother, but probably quite proud of his brother at the same time. I don't know. Folignos are kind of leaders. It's kind of how it works going back to their dad. And we'll see if Marcus is ever a captain in the NHL. I don't think he's been an actual captain. I'm just thinking he's not the captain in Minnesota because you've got Spurgeon. I don't think Foligno's ever been a captain. I think he will be at some point. But anyways, that's a whole other discussion for a whole other time. So now I get to erase the board again, take all the magnets off, and then I'll load it up with a whole bunch of new stuff. I'll probably be back in 20 minutes? 20, 30 minutes? Probably something like that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.